and not repeat. Number 10. World's highest shallow dive. We'll begin our deep dive into the craziest records by diving shallow. You must be thinking, what is a shallow dive? Well, it's a dive from any height into a pool of water no more than 12 inches deep. American shallow diver Darren Taylor, also known as Professor Splash, has been progressing higher and higher over his career, and one day he finally broke the highest shallow dive record. He presently holds the world record at 10.3 meters. Yes, that equates to Darren jumping off a platform that is over 3 stories high and splashing down into a kiddie pool that holds roughly a foot of water. Diving is a hazardous sport in general, but one miscalculation or too much rotation in the shallow dive, and participants will dive 6 feet under for their next attempt, if you know what we mean. Largest pizza. Is there anything in the world as satisfying as a normal pizza? We have an answer for you. The world's biggest pizza. Before we give you the details, what would you guess as to the size of this pizza? We'll give you a hint. It was made in the contemporary era, December 13th, 2012 to be precise. This was just before the world was coming to an end on December 21st. What a great send-off it could have been for the planet. Obviously, this pizza was made in Italy and named Ottavia in honor of the first Roman emperor, Octavian Augustus. The size of the pizza? 13,580 square feet. If you imagine a baking sheet under this pizza, it would measure nearly 117 by 117 feet. The pizza was made by some of the best chefs in Italy: Dovilio Nardi, Andrea Manocci, Marco Nardi, Matteo Nardi, and Matteo Giannatti of Rome. Number 8. The heaviest man. Surprisingly, it doesn't come off as a surprise to anyone who's told that both the heaviest man and woman records are held by Americans. Of all the countries, the US has the highest percentage of obesity, which was 39% in 2017. Believe us, it goes up, not down. John Brower Minnock was from Washington State, and at age 12, he weighed 135 kilograms. His weight increased steadily until he reached a peak weight of 635 kilograms in 1978. Sadly, but not surprisingly, that March, he suffered heart and respiratory failure. Can you guess how many people were needed to take him out of the home? Let's give you a hint. More people than in a soccer team. Yeah, you heard that right. 12 firemen were needed to transport him to University Hospital in Seattle. Once there, he was diagnosed with massive edema, and the doctor estimated that he carried 400 kilograms of accumulated fluid, the scientific term for fat. He remained in the hospital for 2 years, lying on 2 beds lashed together. It required 13 people to roll him over. While in the hospital, Minnock married a woman named Jeanette, and because she weighed only 50 kilograms, they set a record for the biggest weight difference between spouses. He died in 1983 at the age of 41. No one is definitely beating that record. Number 7. World's longest human mattress domino fall. Here's another record in the category of strange and weird. Before addressing the record that was broken, and still stands, we need to explain exactly what human mattress dominoes are. Differing from human dominoes, who just fall onto one another in succession, human mattress dominoes rely on people holding a bed mattress. In this particular world record attempt, everyone was using a twin-sized mattress. We're guessing human dominoes with king-size mattresses would be a different competition altogether. So this particular record was set at the immense Gaylord Resort and Conference Center in National Harbor, Maryland, and included 1,200 participants. Yeah, that's right, 1,200 people holding 1,200 mattresses. The entire event took over 13 minutes to complete. The great thing about this record? All of the mattresses were donated to people in need in the greater Washington, D.C. area. Number 6. Most Jell-O eaten with chopsticks in 1 minute. The rules to defeat this world record are pretty simple. All you have to do is eat Jell-O, all you want, with chopsticks. But honestly, it's actually pretty difficult. The current record is a mere 3.2 ounces of Jell-O in 1 minute. You can use any flavor of Jell-O, but only one hand can be used, and the other must be behind your back. If you think this is a quick record to break, think again. It's one thing to eat Jell-O with a spoon, but using chopsticks sounds like a slippery disaster. Could you do it? Number 5. Longest time spent on a gurney. For this record, the Guinness Book of World Records created a whole new category. A 40-year-old Brit reported that he'd laid on a gurney for 77 hours and 30 minutes. Collins was a diabetic patient and caught a virus that sent him to Princess Margaret Hospital in Swindon, England, on Saturday, February 24, 2001. When he was told he would have to wait for a bed, he didn't expect he would have to wait for days in the hallway. He was put on a gurney in a hallway, parked outside the bathroom at 3 o'clock. They finally found a room for him at 8:30 p.m. on Tuesday. Ironically, while Guinness was investigating Collins' claims, he again fell ill and returned to Princess Margaret. This time, he was left on a gurney for 60 hours. Number 4. The most prolific parents. One of the weirdest and craziest records in the world is held by Vasilyev, an 18th century peasant from the Shuya district in Moscow. Fyodor and his 2 wives had 22 sets of twins, 9 sets of triplets, and 4 sets of quadruplets. We don't know how, but he really did it. He was born around 1707 and began fathering rapidly at the age of 18. 40 years later, he finally stopped. He said that all but 2 of his children survived infancy, a remarkable number for that time. And by the time he was interviewed at the ripe age of 75, 84 of his kids were still living. This was such an extraordinary thing at the time that he was sent to St. Petersburg to meet Empress Catherine II. And who was the most prolific mother? It had to be somewhat related to Fyodor, right? Well, yes, it was Fyodor's first wife. No one seems to have bothered to discover her first name, however, which is a shame because she deserves far more accolades than her husband. She, after all, endured 27 pregnancies and 69 births. Number 3. Most wins at World Beard and Mustache Championships. Being that more men are wearing facial hair now than ever before, we think it's appropriate to offer a little appreciation to beards and mustaches. After all, these phenomena are loved annually at the World Beard and Mustache Championships, where competitors from the world over come to show off their facial dues. There are multiple categories, allowing people to compete in the division that best suits their beard or mustache. In the realm of this international composition, one competitor stands above the rest. Karl-Heinz Hill of Germany has enjoyed 8 wins at the illustrious celebration and competition, competing in the Imperial Partial Beard category. His beard really stands out the most. For 8 years, no one has been able to beat him in this category, and we don't think anyone will anytime soon. Anyone interested in the beard competition game can do so nationally at the Beard and Mustache National Championships, sponsored by Just for Men, obviously.